Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hexen, bringing you another TAA Tribe Descent Analysis commentary. Today we're going to be looking at the Technician, and the role we are fulfilling is General Base Defense and Repair on the map Raindance. Now I'll come right out and say that this might be a little bit more of a boring video. Generally, what you're seeing in the background now is the majority of the video, and it's mostly going to be macro analysis on why it is important to fulfill this role, not only on this map, but on any map. So let's say you're wanting to play this particular role on this particular map. What you're going to do is immediately move to this front turret here. It is the one that is always under fire, it is the most vulnerable, it is the closest to the enemy's base and team, so it's the one that's going to be under fire for the majority of the gameplay. The second turret is the second most important, and the base turret is the least important turret, and I'll get into why that is right now. The second turret is your midfield defense on your side of the map, so keeping it up is a priority. The base turret that sits on top of the generator enclosure is the least important turret, and it is because most of your defenders are sitting around this turret, so even if it goes down, your base should have an ample defense if your team is playing their role effectively, if the defenders are actually defending the flag. So your priorities for Raindance should go front turret, middle turret, rear turret, with the front turret being the most important and the rear turret being the least important. Now, it will vary from map to map. Some maps may require you to devote more attention to your radar, for instance. It just all depends on how it's set up, where the base assets are located, and on what pieces of terrain, where the enemy flag runners are going to be coming from, and where the general attack paths are. Something else that should be getting a lot of use if you are fulfilling this role is your zoom function. Yeah, that thing you saw me using right there. It is very important to gauge at all times the status of all of your base assets, and on Raindance, since your turrets are so far apart, this is critical to do all the time, no matter where you are on the map. It is very important to see if the back turret is still up, if you're repairing the front turret. If you're at the middle turret, you want to check both the front and the rear turret before moving on. Obviously, if both are down, you're going to go for the front turret first and then move all the way back to the rear turret to repair that last. Something else I want to talk about is where your credit should fall, or where the upgrade should go as a technician playing this role. Your first upgrade, no matter what map it is, should always be to your radar. The radar should receive 1 or 2 upgrades before you start pouring money into your turrets, and once the radar is upgraded, on this map, guess which turret gets the first upgrade? If you guessed the front turret, you would be totally correct. The front turret is the one drawing the most fire, and so therefore requires the most life to stay up the longest. Coming back to the footage, you see me moving up to the front turret after upgrading the radar, and it is down unfortunately, but we're going to remedy that with our magical blue spark gun. We're going to repair it back to full health. What you see me doing here is strafing back and forth, and this is something every technician should be doing if he's trying to fulfill this role. This does 2 things. It makes you a harder target for enemies to shoot at, and it also allows you to check more of the background behind the turret. I'm not looking at the turret when I'm repairing the turret. I'm checking the horizon and the area around the turret, and that's why I strafe back and forth. So let's say everything is up and running, hunky-dory, 100%. What should you be doing? Well, spotting is another way to non-combatively help out your team that doesn't require you to be in a certain location. Right there you saw me identifying a raider with his jammer pack on, letting my defenders know that, hey, there's this asshole who's possibly about to get into our generator room. Because of my spot, my defenders knew where he was and were able to take him out. Right here is another key piece of gameplay footage that I want to talk about that revolves around keeping a turret alive even when it's under fire. If you can sustain a turret with your repair gun even while it's being bombarded, you should do so, and here's why. You are essentially removing people from the overall battle of the game. You are taking them out of the equation by keeping them occupied trying to kill that turret. And this benefits your team in a couple ways. One, you are a technician plus a turret, which means you are still able to provide some sort of defense even if you're not on the trigger. 2, it is making the enemy static. He is just sitting there firing at the turret, trying to take it out, which makes him a very juicy target for your other teammates. And even if the turret can't reach the guy that's actually shelling him, what are they, One of the turrets, like, alive now? Me and the turret, after the battle, we went out for a beer. Here's some great stories! Anyways, the turret, it can still provide area denial even if it can't reach the sheller. People around it can still be taken down even if it's taking damage. And while you are sort of effectively removed from the battle as well, you're still keeping it alive, and that turret acts as your main weapon, even if you're not controlling it or pulling the trigger. So now let's talk about engagements. When, where, and why you're going to be going after the enemies that you are on the battlefield while you're fulfilling this role. As a technician, you should be going after people who are close to your turrets and who are making your job more difficult than it needs to be. This includes juggernauts, shellers, infiltrators, raiders, anyone who is able to deal damage to your turret and who is also close by. People who are flying over your head at 250k who just take a shot or two at the turret and move on should not be given a second thought. These people right here, the raiders, the juggernauts that you saw me kill earlier, these are the people you want to be taking out. They are the biggest threat to your role on the battlefield, and you want to be close enough to your turrets so after achieving the kill, you can pop right back and continue repairing. So now let's move to talking about the actual footage you see playing in the background here. You see me using my spot button effectively, and here you see me utilizing that strategy I was talking about earlier, keeping the turret alive even when it's under fire. I know it's a raider, he's got a jammer pack on, which is why the turret is not shelling, but as soon as I see the turret move to engage an enemy that's close to it, I immediately jump off and take stock of my surroundings. I want to know what enemy that turret is shooting at. It was an infiltrator, he disappears like the cloaking bastard he is, so I immediately move back and continue repairing. I move to the right hand side to see where the rounds are coming from. I want to know who is actually firing at our turret and from where, so after I finish the repair I can immediately move out and engage him. This also puts a static object between you and the harasser to make sure that you don't start taking damage while you're repairing the turret. Right there you see me taking stock of the situation again. I want to make sure that no one's about to come and stab me in the back. I want to know where this guy is. I see him, he's going to start coming after me, and as soon as the enemy moves his attention from the turret to you, that's when you want to start going after him. Because he's no longer firing at the turret, he wants to kill you. Right here, another cool thing, I don't see the balls being fired anymore. I know he is targeting me. I know he is switching his firing trajectory, so I move behind the turret. Give it a little bit more love before I start moving out and wearing this guy down. This entire time, I kept my turret alive, up and running, and that's exactly what you want to be doing. You don't want to sacrifice having your turret be taken down to get a kill or two here and there. If you are playing your role effectively on this map, this is where you should be spending the majority of your playtime. I will see you guys in the loadout screen. So taking a look at the loadout I decided to go with. I went with the TCN SMG because I wanted a flexible weapon that could deal damage quickly to static targets. Generally speaking, if people are shelling your assets, they're going to be standing still. And I found that the SMG deals damage faster if you can land all your shots. So on a static target, the TCN SMG wins out. The Thumper is more of an offensive weapon in my opinion. If you're trying to play the Engineer as more of a soldier type role, the Thumper would probably be a better choice as your primary. For my secondary, I went with the Enhanced Repair Tool or the Technician Repair Tool. I don't even have any of the secondaries unlocked, so obviously this is the only role I could even talk about. But if you are trying to fulfill this role in the battlefield, this is what you want. 24/7, you should not be having a weapon as your secondary. For the grenade, I decided to go with just the base grenade, the TCN grenade. You didn't see me use it, I don't think at all in this clip, and really it's more situational. There was a lot of gameplay footage that I chopped out. I may have used it a few times, but in the gameplay footage I don't believe you saw me play with it at all. The turret, probably the most unique asset the Technician has at his disposal. There were times in this game where I put these down and achieved kills with them, but unfortunately I chopped all of that footage out for time constraint reasons. There will more than likely be a future video dedicated exclusively to the strategy behind putting these things down and how they help complement whichever role you're playing on the battlefield. For my perks, I decided to go with Bounty Hunter, so I get that extra 100 credits, which with each pickup and kill that I achieve, so I can apply that to the turrets and base assets. And for my secondary perk, no brainer, it should always be mechanic, especially if you are taking your repair gun as a secondary. If you're fulfilling the role of base repair, this should always be in your slot. My name is Hexen, and I thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe for more Tribes Descent content. I'll see you guys next time.